What's up guys, welcome to another beginner hacking tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about Armitage. Armitage is basically a graphical front end for the Metasploit framework. Not really much more to say about it. It is a pretty nice bit of kit. I don't really like using it, I prefer the command line, but Armitage is very good for those who just want to get started with, well, using Metasploit. So to start it up, you can either go to Applications, Backtrack, Exploitation Tools, Network Exploitation Tools, Metasploit Framework, and then Armitage. But what I like to do is just open Terminal, type Armitage, and then it'll start loading up. What it'll do is give you a login prompt. What you have to do with that login prompt is just click Connect, and then it'll ask you whether it wants to start the Metasploit RPC server. Automatically click yes, and that should go ahead and start it for you. People normally get confused at this point where it says connection refused and cancel it. What you have to do is leave it, because what it's actually doing is starting the Metasploit server in the background. So it's just going to keep trying to connect, and while that server's coming up, you won't be able to connect, but when it comes up then it'll connect and it'll load up Armitage. Armitage is really good for those who just want to, just click buttons with the mouse and just go, yeah, I want that one. Armitage is also good for those who don't really like clicking buttons but want a more graphical representation of the things they've actually attacked. I'll just get rid of that, sorry. Sometimes Armitage can take a while to start up, because obviously it's having to start up that backtrack server in the background, and as you can see it's just connected now. It's the first time I've loaded this, so it's going to create all these tables in the database, and Armitage is going to load up here. So this is Armitage. Let's just take a look around it first. Obviously up here you've got your minimize and all that crap. We've got these menus. This is where you set your preferences and your SOCKS proxy. The idea of the SOCKS proxy is you can actually set up Armitage on a computer inside a network, then use a SOCKS proxy to get back to that Armitage session. So yeah, pretty easy. Sorry about my phone vibrating. In the view, you can view this console down here. Like if you closed it by accident. In hosts, you can start scans, import host, add host, MSF scans, all that good stuff. Attacks, find attacks, and Hail Mary. Hail Mary is essentially just DB autopwn, if you've heard of that before. What it'll do is just try, it'll basically scan for not scan for vulnerabilities, it'll check for open ports on the host, and any that are open it'll try and select a exploit that might work with it, and it'll just go ahead and try that. Workspaces, you can manage your workspaces, so if you had loads of different ones, so say if you had one network, if you set up a new workspace, it's blank like this, but what you'll find out is when you restart Armitage, those computers will still be there. So, and if you want to keep hold of them but you want to start on a new network, you start a new workspace and those hosts stay there. In help, you've got tutorials and stuff like that, but obviously you've got me here, so you don't need to use that. Here on the left here, you've actually got your exploit viewer, where you've got your exploits and your auxiliary exploits and payloads, anything like that. This search function becomes absolutely, it's amazing for just, if you want to type in MSO8, we've got our net API. Okay, so well, down here you've got the console as well before we move on, just in case you want to type commands down here or whatever. So let's just start off by using it. First off, what you're always going to do when you fire up Armitage is run a scan. Personally, I'd recommend doing an intense scan, because it doesn't take that much longer than a quick scan, surprisingly. So and I normally go for an intense scan no ping, because if that host has got ping blocking enabled, it'll basically act like it's turned off when it's not. Oops, sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. Okay, no, I didn't sneeze. Okay, so we're just going to do an intense scan, and we'll do my own network. Those who, I won't give you a networking lesson, but /24 means you're going to search everything in this range, so from 0 to 255 here. A /16 would be these two, so so from 0 to 255 to 0255 / I've done that wrong, haven't I? I cannot do math. No, wait, I've done... Wait, no, I'm completely right. And then here you do... Those three are a /8. Okay? So, what I'm doing here is just /24, which is just 255 hosts. So I'm just going to let that run. During this scan, what I'll do is I'll keep looking down here because it'll tell you any ports that it finds that are open. And what you'll find out is that you build up a knowledge of exploits in your head, and you know what port things work on. Like I know that the MS08_067_ net API exploit is for port 445, which is NetBIOS, I think. Sorry about Windows telling me it wants me to go into basic, even though I think it's lying to me. A scan can take a while, so I don't know. For a /20, for just a /24, it won't take all that long. But don't think that it stopped working just because it isn't doing very much that you can see, because it is still scanning. Apparently it's only scanning 96 hosts. Okay, so now it's scanning my router. It's found port 21, which is FTP, port 23, which is Telnet. When I say it's Telnet, obviously you can set whatever service to whatever port you want, but those are the common, like, that's what they're normally reserved for. So that's just scanning my router at the moment. This is starting to annoy me. I didn't notice I could say don't show this message again. Herp. So what I'll do is I'll just leave the scan running, and I'll keep the recording going at real time so you know what kind of thing to expect. I know if I saw a tutorial and there was a big bit cut out of the middle and I didn't notice, and I'd be wondering why mine was taking so long. Some people prefer Armitage over the just command line MSF console. I'm not one of those. I think command line is just a lot quicker, especially in Linux as well. I mean, in Windows they take about the same amount of time to load up, so there's no real benefit there. But in Linux, it's just so much quicker, so much quicker. This is taking a little bit longer than usual, but I'm guessing that's just because I've got a lot of machines on my network. In fact, I'm going to pause the video here. It's taking a bit longer than usual, and I'll come back to this. I'm sorry about you having to wait here and just stare at a scan, but yeah, I'll just pause the video here, and when it's done, I'll come back. Okay, so once the scanner's completed, you'll actually... Sorry, just let me move my microphone. Okay, so once the scanner's completed, you'll see this. it'll automatically try and detect these targets. Usually it doesn't do very well, but what you can do is right click services and take a pretty educated guess at what this is. Microsoft Terminal Service, Microsoft HTTP API. Yeah, you can pretty much assure yourself Microsoft IIS. Yeah, you can basically say that's a Windows server. 100, I think that's, yeah, a Windows XP box. Services, TC, I don't know what that is. And that's another Windows server apparently. 179, what are you? Microsoft RDP, so that's my laptop, the other laptop. So as you can see, these are all the targets we've found. So, alright, so when you've found a possible target like this one, you'll see the port 5455 is open. I know that box is patched anyway, but you'd actually know that, you'd work out that okay, let's go back a bit, I'm confusing myself. You'd realise that port 455, with the knowledge you've gained, is actually you'll work out what exploits are, what it's vulnerable against. That's the word I was trying to get to. What it's vulnerable against. Yeah, what it's vulnerable to. Jeez, I'm having trouble talking. This one, it's vulnerable to PS exec if you know the user. You can click find attacks and that'll scan that box for any attacks that it might, like any attacks that you might be able to use. We've got all kinds of stuff here, but this is just basically an overview of Armitage. So from here what you do is right click attack and use one of these, but usually the attacks that are actually like usable aren't actually in this menu, so you've just got to build up that knowledge of what ports mean. Well, if something's got a certain port open, what it's vulnerable to. So it having that XP box having port 455 open, if I didn't know that had service pack 3 on it, which I know it does because it's like just next door to me, but that'd actually be vulnerable to this, which on this XP box here doesn't actually say. Yeah, it doesn't actually say it's vulnerable. What does this do? Oh, fair enough. That attack might be useful, but yeah, you get the idea. Armitage is pretty simple. You just basically run a scan, and then from here you can see all the boxes and what attacks are most vulnerable. MS08 or 67 net API is usually for anything that's running service pack 3. If I decided to scan these machines further, I think what I can do is right click scan, and then that'll go off and try and tell me what operating system it's running. And if it comes back and says, oh look, it's running Windows XP Service Pack 2, then I'd go ahead and use MS0867. I've never used that user map script that is recommended, but it's all a matter of trial and error. That's all hacking is, and people don't realise that there's no like one route, there's no one attack which will work on everything. Like you can see there, that's the Service Pack 3 box. But there's no one attack which will work on everything, so it's just a matter of trying things. Yeah, just trial and error. Thanks for watching this, guys. I know it's been a kind of a bit all over the place, but yeah, hopefully it's helped you a little bit. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.